Good day each and everyone. Good day to you, sir. I am the first reporter of Group 3, and our topic is all about the United Nations and the contemporary governance. United Nations, often called as UN. It is an indispensable cornerstone of international diplomacy and cooperation, providing a platform where nations come together, address global challenges, forge pathways towards a more peaceful and equitable world. So, as the conclusion of World War II loomed in 1945, so sa kalagitnaan sa gira sa World War II atong 1945, 50 countries or 50 delegates from different countries convened in San Francisco, California from April 25 to June 1945. During this period, the following 2 months the delegates worked diligently to craft and subsequently endorse the UN Charter, and the official commencement occurred in October 24, 1945. So the rules and function of United Nations encompass a broad spectrum of responsibilities from conflict resolution and peacekeeping to the promotion of sustainable development of the protection of human rights. However, the UN operates in a world fraught with geopolitical complexities, financial constraints, and the ever-evolving nature of global conflicts, making it a subject of ongoing scrutiny and debate. So the rules and functions of the United Nations. The first one is the maintenance of international peace and security. The primary responsibility of the United Nations lies in upholding global peace and security, carried through various means including peacekeeping missions and initiation of diplomatic efforts. So, ang primary responsibility sa United Nations is to keep or to uphold global peace and security of the nations. So, United Nations Security Council or UNSC grants authorization for peacekeeping operations and sanctions against who breach the harmony of international peace. So si United Nations Security Council, mao ni siya ang principal organ of United Nations. Mao ni siya ang responsible for maintaining international peace and security sa usa ka nasod or sa tibuok nga mga nasod nga membro sa United Nations. So ang buhat sa United Nations Security Council is pag-maintain sa peace o maghatag og sanctions sa mga nations or mga country nga mo tulibagbag or sa mga country nga mo breach sa harmony sa international, mga country nga magbuhat og mga butang nga maka breach sa harmony of the internal peace. So, example aning nabuhat sa UNSC is the Ukraine-Russia conflict. The UNSC has addressed the conflict, imposed sanctions, and called for a peaceful resolution. So, nakadungog naman siguro ta ning gira sa unano sa Ukraine ug sa Russia. So, ang nagbuhat atong mga butang aron malinaw bitaw is ang UNSC or the United Nations Security Council. So kanina sa pictures mo ni sila ang mga grupo sa lain-lain nga lugar sa UNSC no na nasakop sa UNSC. So sa Asia and the Pacific, under niya is the United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan or UNMOGIP. Sa Europe po o sa Central Asia na si UNMIK o si UNFYCP, and the rest so the Middle East si UNDOF, si UNIFIL o si UNTSO. So sa naapod si na po UN Peacekeeping Operations by Region sa Africa na si United Nations Mission of the Referendum in Western Sahara and many more. So the next is the conflict resolution and mediation. Acts as an intermediary in international conflicts, facilitating negotiations and formations of peace accord. So, si conflict resolution and mediation po, mao gyapon pagkuan sa peace sa nations. Okay? So, mo yung gaitag intermediary, mo ni sila'y facilitator. Sa conflict resolution and mediation, mo ni sila'y mga facilitator nga mag-negotiate aron sa pag-maintain sa peace sa atong mga kanasuran. So, ang example ani ibuhat nila is the Central African Republic peace process and mediation endeavors in Yemen. So, na conflict between Central African Republic and the Yemen. So, UN lead several negotiations between Yemen government, focusing on ceasefires, for example, ceasefires o katong prisoner swap. O mo yung tag prisoner swap, no, bihag sa country, kintahay, ang bihag sa Yemen, iuli nila sa Central African Republic. So, ang bihag po sa Central African Republic nga taga Yemen, ila sa iuli sa Yemen. So, sa kana nga pamaagi, nag-build og trust, bitaw, maka-build og trust, and then muhunong na ang ilahang kakulian. And the truce agreement, so truce agreement is the ceasefire or pag-stop na sa mga gira o sa gubot nga hitabo. So next rules is the peacekeeping operations. Peacekeeping operations dispatches peacekeeping missions to regions grappling with conflicts. So mag-dispatch ni sa peacekeeping missions sa mga regions nga naapektuhan sa mga conflicts or sa mga lugar nga wherein na ay kagubot nga nahitabo. So, mao gihapon maintain peace and security sa mga tao and protect civilians. So, katong walay mga labot bitaw nga maapektuhan sa mga maong kagubot. So, example is UN deployed peacekeeping missions to various conflict zones, including Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Lebanon. So, magpadani sila og mga peacekeeping missions itong mga military nga na karon pag-coordinate, pagpasabot nila ug aron mahunong na ang mga kakulian o pag-maintain sa peace gihapon sa mga between nations nga nagkasumpaki. The fourth one is the humanitarian assistance. Assumes pivotal role in delivering humanitarian relief to areas stricken by both natural disasters and armed conflicts. So humanitarian assistance kuno pod mo ni sila mag-deliver og mga humanitarian relief sa mga areas nga nabagyuhan baron or naigira or na mga basta mga disasters nga nahitabo. Makita man ni nato or na-experience man ni nato atong time nga dihay bagyo na ay mga taga UN nga muhatag og kuan mga pagkaon, relief goods, yung mga organization ba nya kuan kanang tong pagvaksin, vaksin ba tong dahay COVID na nanghatag og vaksin, mga alcohol, mga tambal ay nga na. So ang type po sa assistance nga gihatag or giserve aning humanitarian assistance is food and nutrition. So mga itong giingon ay mga tag relief goods nga na, shelter and protection. So na mga tag mga bahay kato lang paglinog atong dito dinhi sa atua na strike ano dako ato isloon. So na mga UN organizations nga nihatag sa mga dito mga shelter. So sabi ko, inisaka ni mas moalong na ay mga bahay diha nga naglinya mo na mga hinatag na sa ikan sa mga UN nga organizations. Health and medical care. So, itong mga vaccine lagi yung giingon ganina, mga tambal, nga na, yung makatabang sa atong health. Water sanitation and hygiene. Ensuring access to clean water and sanitation. Okay? So, example, ano nila is si Red Cross, CTSWD, CUSED, nga na, mo na sila example sa mga humanitarian assistance. Then, the last one, or the fifth one, was the development and sustainable goals. Established local objectives for development targeting critical issues such as poverty, education, healthcare, and gender equality. So, kaning SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals exemplify a worldwide endeavor to elevate living conditions and safeguard environment. So, sa SDG, mo ni siya, grupo po ni siya nga exemplify to elevate living conditions. So, mga pamaagi aron kuan atong pamuyo, ma-elevate ang atong pagpamuyo ni mga training, seminars, nga na mga livelihood nga gibuhat nila aron makatabang sa mga tao. So that would be all, and thank you for listening.
Human Rights Promotion and Protection. The United Nations actively works to promote and safeguard human rights worldwide. This mission is supported by the United Nations Human Rights Council and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. The United Nations Charter outlines a key goal, which is to foster global collaboration in addressing international issues of an economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian nature. The United Nations first implemented this mandate after World War II, significantly contributing to the reconstruction of war-torn Europe. Nowadays, countries turn to the UN for helping coordinating humanitarian aid during crises caused by natural or human-made disaster, especially in areas where local governments struggle to provide adequate assistance on their own. In short, the United Nations plays a crucial role in international cooperation to address global humanitarian challenges and protect human rights. Environmental stewardship. The United Nations helps protect the environment by working with countries to address climate change like global warming, and protect nations, which is preventing animals and plants from disappearing. The United Nations recognizes climate change as a major threat and works to mitigate its effect through international cooperation. This involves setting targets for emissions reductions, promoting sustainability development, and facilitating technological advancements for cleaner energy. The Paris Agreement, a landmark accord signed under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, is a prime example of these collaboration efforts. This involves nationally determined contribution from signatory nations outlining their plans to reduce emissions and adapt to the changing climate. The United Nations also recognized a significant decline in biodiversity as a serious environmental concern. Efforts focus on conservation, sustainable resources management, and combating illegal wildlife trade. This includes initiatives to protect endangered species, establish protected areas, and promote sustainable agriculture practices. Global health. The World Health Organization, part of the United Nations, helps keep the world healthy. They fight diseases, set health rules, and help countries deal with health emergencies like pandemics. The World Health Organization plays a crucial role in coordinating international responses with global health crises such as pandemics. This includes surveillance, disease outbreak investigations, and the distributions of medical supplies and expertise. The COVID-19 pandemic clearly demonstrates the World Health Organization's importance in coordinating a worldwide response. Through its actions and effectiveness, were also subject to significant criticism and debate. The World Health Organization established guidelines and standards for health practices globally. This ranges from sanitation guidelines to the regulation of pharmaceuticals and medical services. These standards aims to improve healthcare quality and ensure safety worldwide. International law and dispute resolution. The United Nations play a vital role in creating and implementing international law. This includes drafting treaties, conventions, and other legal instruments that govern relations between nations. The United Nations also promotes the adherence to and enforcement of their laws, working to address violations and promote accountability. The International Court of Justice, the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, serves as a crucial mechanism for resolving disputes between nations peacefully. States can bring cases before the ICJ, and the court's rulings are binding, promoting a rules-based international order and avoid conflict. However, the ICJ's jurisdiction relies on the consent of the state involved, limiting its reach in some instances. Other United Nations bodies, such as the Security Council, also play roles in complex resolution and peacekeeping. Democracy and governance. The United Nations actively promotes democratic system, effective governance, and the rule of law globally. It works to establish and strengthen democratic institutions in various countries. The United Nations sees itself as bridging the past and the future, using its experience to help resolve complex and promote sustainable development, ultimately aiming for a more peaceful and equitable world. A key part of this is providing a platform for developing and oppressed nations to voice their concern, receive international aid and support, and participate in shaping a more inclusive global future. The United Nations Charter opening words, "We, the peoples," encapsulate this commitment to global collaboration and shared progress.
And today I will be presenting my report on the challenges of global governance in 21st century. This topic is very important and relevant in our time because we live in highly interconnected world where problems such as climate change, international conflicts, global pandemics, and economic instability go beyond borders. These challenges require cooperation and strong leadership among nations, but achieving this is not always easy. In this report, I will discuss the major challenges the global governance faces today, include the lack of political will and cooperation, unequal representation, financial difficulties, enforcement problems, and the need to address new and emerging global issues. I will also explain how these issues impact peace, development, and global decision making. So, let us begin by first understanding. what global governance means and why it is so important in the 21st century. The global governance landscape faces complex challenges such as economic and political inequalities, weak enforcement of international rules, and the need of greater collaboration among nations. In the Philippines, these issues include unequal development, poor political representations, and difficulties in enforcing agreements. However, advancements in technology and policy offer opportunities to improve governance. Effective global governance requires the active participation of all stakeholders and recognition of the interconnectedness of nation populations. So, example, in the Philippines, some regions are more economically developed than others. For instance, Metro Manila has more resources and infrastructure compared to remote provinces like those in Mindanao. This creates inequality in opportunities and access to services. To address this global governance bodies like the United Nations can support programs that encourage fair development, while the Philippines government can work with local leaders and international partners to ensure that aid and development projects reach underserved areas. Another example is climate change and environmental degradation. Many countries agree that climate change is a global problem, but they often fail to take strong united action. Some powerful nations prioritize their own economic growth over environmental protections, which makes it difficult to enforce international climate agreements like the Paris Agreements. Another example is global health crisis. During the COVID-19 pandemic, global governance was tested while some countries worked together to share vaccines and informations. Others hoarded supplies or spread misinformation. This lack of cooperation made it harder to stop the spread of the virus quickly and fairly. Lack of political will and cooperation. Political leaders often struggle to find common ground and cooperate effectively despite the growing need for international collaboration on various global issues. The complexities of our interconnected world brought about by globalization have made it increasingly challenging to reach a consensus on pivotal decisions. Consensus means is a general agreement reached by a group where everyone supports or accepts a decision even if it's not their choice. And pivotal means very important or crucial, something that plays a key role in the success or outcome of a situation. So lack of political will in cooperation is one of the major challenges in global governance. It means that even though countries may agree on what needs to be done, many governments do not take strong or concise action to solve global problems. Sometimes leaders prioritize their own national interests, politics, or economies rather over global cooperations. So, example, if climate change is harming the world but some countries refuse to reduce pollution because it might affect their economy, that shows a lack of political will in corporations. So it slows down progress on global problems like poverty, conflict, or environmental issues. So it creates division between rich and poor nations. It weakens global governance, making it hard to reach solutions that benefits everyone. So, lack of political will in cooperation is major barrier to solving global issues because people in power choose not to act or work together. Unequal representation and participation. So, disparities in representation and participation within global governance institutions are prevalent prevalent. These organizations are frequently dominated by the interests of wealthier nations, marginalizing the voices of less affluent countries. Consequently, decisions made at this level may not accurately reflect the needs and realities of the most affected nations, leading to a lack of trust and engagement from some countries. So, an unequal representation and participations means that not all countries or groups have an equal voice or influence in global decision making. In global governance, powerful and rich countries like the United States, China, or European nations often have more control, resources, and decision-making power. So while smaller, poorer, or developing countries like the Philippines or African nations have limited participation or are often ignored. So what it is matters no? It creates unfair decisions that benefits the powerful and harm to weak. It is lead to injustice and inequality in policies and laws. It weakens democracy and public trust in institutions. So example no, in the United Nations Security Council, only 5 countries like US, UK, China, France, and Russia have permanent seats with veto power. So these countries can block any decision even if the majority agrees. This gives them unfair advantage and limits the voice of over 180 other members nations. So unequal representation and participation is a challenges in global governance because it creates imbalance, injustice, and unfair outcomes, especially for less power countries or groups that deserve to be heard and included in global decisions. Decisions. The effective enforcement of decisions reached by global governance organizations is a persistent challenge. Differences in resources and capabilities between developed and developing countries often make it difficult to ensure universal compliance with established rules and regulations. So enforcing global governance decisions is kanang pagpatuman sa mga desisyon sa kalibutanong pagdumala. So, it means making sure that countries and organizations follow the rules, agreements, and policies created by international bodies like the United Nations, um, WHO means World Health Organization or ICC. ICC means International Criminal Court. And these decisions are made to solve world problems such as climate change, human rights violations, conflicts, and global health crisis. But enforcement is often difficult because there is no single world government with the power to force countries to obey. So example is Paris agreements on climate change. Countries agreed to reduce pollution, but there are no strong punishment if they don't following through. So some continue to ignore the rules. Another example is International Criminal Court, which is ICC. So it is use arrest warrants for war crimes, but some countries do not recognize its authority so that accused are not arrested. So why it is a problem? Some powerful countries refuse to follow decisions they don't agree with, and smaller or poorer countries may not have the capacity to follow rules even if they want to, and there are no global policy to force countries to obey. So, enforcing global governance decisions means making sure countries follow international rules and agreements. However, it is challenging because of the lack of strong enforcement mechanisms, especially when powerful nations refuse to cooperate. So, single world governance is a vision of global government that would lead the entire world under one system. While it promises unity and cooperation, it also raises concerns about freedom, fairness, and diversity among nations. Financial difficulties. So the global financial crisis has posed a significant challenge to global governance efforts, resulting in an unequal distribution of wealth, resources, and economic opportunities. This crisis has contributed the widening income disparities and the increased marginalization of vulnerable communities, underscoring the need for more robust global governance structures to support the economic recovery of affected countries. So financial difficulties means kanang kalisod sa kanang pangwarta or kakulangan sa kwarta. Financial difficulties refers to situation where a person's organization or government does not have enough money to meet needs, pay debts, or fund important programs and services. In global governance, financial difficulties limit a country's or organization's ability to solve global issues, response to crises, and support development projects. So examples no kanang poor countries so may not afford quality healthcare or education due to limited government budget. Next is United Nations. Sometimes lack funding for peacekeeping missions or humanitarian aid. Next is during disasters, some countries can respond quickly because they have no emergency fund. So, why is this a problem in global governance? So, projects may be delayed or cancelled due to lack of money. Developing countries cannot fully participate in global programs. Crisis response like pandemics, natural disaster, or refuge support become slow or limited. Dependence on rich countries create imbalance in decision making. So example no the World Health Organization which WHO faced funding shortage during the COVID-19 pandemic. Some countries delayed contributions or reduced their financial support, making it harder for WHO to provide vaccines, medical supplies, and health services to poorer countries. So in financial difficulties in global governance limited the effectiveness, reach, and fairness of international efforts. Without stable and fair funding, global organizations struggle to address serious global problems like health crises, poverty, climate change, and conflicts. We have inadequate funding. So, inadequate funding means kanang dili siya igo ang pundo or kakulangan sa pundo. So, inadequate fundings means that there is not enough money provided or available to support programs, services, or operations. In global governance, it is refers to the lack of sufficient financial resources for international organization and government to effectively respond to global challenges such as poverty, climate change, health crisis, and education. So example is um, World Health Organization now sometimes cannot fully respond to health emergency due to limited funds. Next is developing countries cannot provide quality public services like hospitals or schools because of budget shortage. Disaster response. So relief operations are delayed or incomplete when donation and funding are not enough. So why it is nga maing-ani man siya no? It because delay action in solving urgent problems weakens the effectiveness of global programs, increase inequality between rich and poor countries, limited access rather to basic needs and services. So, inadequate funding means not having enough money to properly run programs or respond to global needs. This affects the ability of governments and international organizations to protect people, solve problems, and promote global development. Last is addressing new and emerging global issues. Addressing novel and emerging global challenges, such as those posed by artificial intelligence, presents a unique hurdle for global governance. Addressing new and emerging global issues means taking action to identify, understand, and respond to modern and fast-changing challenges that affect the entire world. So these issues include things like climate change, pandemics, cybersecurity threats, artificial intelligence or AI, and, and migration crises. So since these problems are often global in nature, they require international cooperation and update strategies. Example is climate change, no? Climate change, global warming is causing stronger typhoons, floods, and droughts, no? Pandemics, COVID-19, fast-spreading disease require quick and united global responses. Next is cybersecurity threats. Hacking and digital crimes are raising affects countries and people worldwide. Artificial intelligence or AI raises concerns about job loss, privacy, and ethics in technology. Next is misinformation and fake news. Affect elections, public health, and global peace. So these issues can spread quickly and affect many countries at once. Delayed response can lead to global crises. Solving them requires international teamwork, innovations, and preparation. So addressing new and emerging global issues is a major challenging for global governance because the world is changing quickly. Global institutions must adapt and cooperate more closely to respond to threats that are modern, complex, and fast-moving. Global governance in 21st century face many serious challenges from lack of cooperation and unequal participation to financial issues and emerging global crises. These obstacles make it difficult for a nation to work together effectively, but they also remind us of the importance of unity, shared responsibility, and strong international collaborations. As a global citizens, it is important for us to stay informed by involved and support efforts that promote peace, development, and fairness around the world. Thank you for listening, and I hope this report has helped you understand the importance of addressing the challenges in global governance today.
So, good morning everyone. I am Airways Fertilisa and I will be reporting the some examples of global governance in action. So, first is the Philippines. One of the example of global first, we will define what is global governance. So, global governance refers to the system of international institution, rules, and norms that enable cooperation on issues that transcend national borders. It's not a world governance, but rather a framework for how various actors, state, international organization can work together to address a global challenge. Example include the UN system. So, the first example of global governance in action is Philippines. So the Philippines actively engage with the United Nations, which is example of global governance, and its various agencies to address global issue pertinent to peace, security, human rights, and development of humanitarian concern. So, the Philippines participate actively in the United Nations, and its specialized agency. So how it works. So how Philippines can contribute to the global governance. The Philippines contribute voluntarily to UN agency, which allows the agency to remain impartial. So what are those benefits? So this engagement allowed the Philippines to advocate for its own interest while also contributing to global peace, security, human rights development, and humanitarian efforts. So the second example of global governance in action is Europe. The European Union serves as prominent illustration of regional cooperation within Europe, comprising 27 member states and a population of nearly 447 million people in the Europe. So, what it unsa di ay ang Europe, why how it works sa global governance nganong usa man ka example ang Europe sa global governance. So member state cooperate to address shared challenges and promote regional stability and prosperity, which is a strong example of regional cooperation. So the important thing is that the Europe serve as a model for how nation can collaborate effectively on common issues, demonstrating successful regional governance. So the last example of a global governance in action is Africa. So Africa faces a multitude of shared challenges, from economic development and security to healthcare and infrastructure. So African nations are working to establish their own regional organization. Why it's happening nga naman? They are inspired by model like the Europe and aim to address shared challenges such as economic development, security, healthcare, and infrastructure. So, what is the goal? Unsa di ay ang goal sa Africa? So, the goal is that to create collective responses to common issues, foster regional stability, and achieve prosperity, much like the Europe has done. So, in essence, this example illustrate different levels and form of global governance. That's all. So, my next topic is all about the relevance of the United Nations and globalization. In an increasingly interconnected world marked by rapid advancement in the technology, international trade, and the flow of ideas, the role of the United Nations stands as a cornerstone of global governance. While globalization has undoubtedly transformed the dynamics of international relations, the UN's continued relevance remains crucial in addressing the complex and interconnected challenges facing the international community. So, the enduring importance of the United Nations in the era of globalization include its role in promoting peace, addressing global crises, and advancing sustainable development. So first is promoting global peace and security. So one of the most fundamental function of the United Nations maintaining international peace and security, and globalization with its complex web of international relationship and increasing potential for conflict. So, promoting global peace and security is a core aspect of the United Nations relevance amid globalization because it serves as the primary mechanism for conflict. It serves as the primary mechanism for conflict prevention and resolution in an increasingly interconnected world. So, interconnectedness and conflict, globalization has created a complex web of international relationship, which, while fostering cooperation, also increase the potential for conflict due to heightened interaction and shared challenges. So the UN, particularly through the Security Council, plays a crucial role in maintaining international peace and security by authorizing peacekeeping missions, implementing sanctions, and facilitating diplomatic initiative to address threats to peace. So the second one is addressing global crisis. So globalization has brought with new challenges including pandemic, climate change, and the displacement of populations. The United Nations is a crucial platform for coordinating international responses to these crises. So, one of the specialized UN agency is the World Health Organization. It is significant in addressing global health issues. So why is that addressing global crisis is important, highly relevant to the United Nations amid globalization? Because globalization itself has introduced many of the crises and the interconnected nature of the world. So globalization has brought a new challenges such as pandemic like COVID-19, climate change, which are inherently global in scope and require international cooperation to address effectively. So the last one is advancing sustainable development. The UN's engagement in global governance extend to sustainable development. The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, a set of 7 interconnected goals, represent a global effort to improve living conditions while protecting the environment. So, kaning advancing sustainable development is nag-represent ni siya nga ma-improve ang living condition while pod ga-protect ka sa environment. This goal addresses issues such as poverty, education, healthcare, and gender equality. So kani pud nga goal nag-address ni siya sa mga issues sa mga kanang kahirapan, sa edukasyon, sa healthcare, o sa kanang gender equality. Ensuring that globalization's benefits are distributed equal on United Nations 2015. So that's all.